What up, Netflix binge watchers? This is Apocalypse Movies, and we're actually here to review a TV show called Daredevil. You might have heard of it. They just released season 2. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, the host of the Apocalypse Movie News podcast and several other stuff going on here at Apocalypse Movies YouTube channel. I'm joined today with the regulars, Gio Ramos and Jake Berlin. Gio, how are you doing today, man? You're rocking a sick beanie today. What's on your beanie?
Shout out to Luke Crate for giving me a reversible on one side Punisher, on the other side Daredevil beanie. It's a little warm, but I'm still wearing it for this review.
And Jake Berlin, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm happy to be talking Daredevil, man. I'm excited about this.
Heck yeah. So, obviously, this is a TV show, and we are Apocalypse Movies, but it is within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it technically qualifies as a movie discussion. But even if it didn't, we would still be reviewing it because this show is freaking awesome. So, for those of you who don't know how this works, pretty simple. We're going to do the positives, the negatives, talk about how we felt about it and our expectations for next season, and give it a score out of 10. So let's jump right into it. I just want to get your guys' general impression, a couple sentences, to sum up the season. How did you feel about it, Gio?
I was struggling on whether or not it's the single greatest season of any TV show I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've only seen a handful of TV shows.
I thought you were going to say comic book TV shows, but
this
that's
season
crazy.
Is really, really great. There's a lot of great character moments in there, lots of good conflict in there. The new additions to the cast are all excellent, amazing. The story is great. Even some of the side plots, it doesn't get too crowded. It all takes its time. Granted, it's 13 episodes, but you can't help but not binge watch this. It's really good. I'm really impressed by this season, and the way it ended. I'm looking forward to season 3 even more now. Like, I want it next week.
Yeah. Jake, what sums up the season for you overall?
I've never wanted to go back to a TV show right away.
Yeah, you rewatched it
I'm
all the way up to episode 10
I'm
already.
currently on episode 10 again.
And it hasn't finished it in
and it opened
less than 24 hours,
The
right?
show was released at midnight tonight last week.
Yeah, less than a week ago.
I've never wanted to do that with a TV show before. And I'll go as far as saying that it is the greatest season of TV I've ever watched.
Period?
Period.
Wow.
I was absolutely floored. Like, we talked about it being favorite comic book TV show, but as I'm watching it again, I can't get over it. Like, it's just that good. And I can't wait to watch it all a third time. So
That's amazing. Yeah, I loved it. It is not the best season of TV I've ever seen, but it's up there, man. I absolutely enjoyed it. It's a cinematic experience. It really is. It's a 13-hour movie, and it improved on everything from season 1. I like it a lot more than season 1. I really liked season 1, but it was a very slow pace for me. But I didn't mind because getting to know these characters. But season 2 is amazing. So yeah, let's jump into the specifics. Let's start with you, Jake. Man, you obviously love this show, and I want to hear some of your main positives. Try not to steal all of them, but no. But what are your positives?
yeah, so this is kind of hard because I went through every episode and I wrote down positives for each episode. So there are so many, but obviously the main ones, starting off with the casting, Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock / Daredevil. The dude proves once again why he was such a great choice.
Killed it.
It was introduced in season 1, but he was really able to go to a different level in season 2, different depths, and it was just fascinating to watch. John Bernthal as the Punisher is probably one of the single greatest Marvel castings of all time. The greatest Punisher so far, easily. Elodie Young as Elektra, unbelievable. Especially as an unknown, she just came out of nowhere and took the role over completely. And then as far as the characters go, there's such a great balance between the action and the drama and emotion in the TV show that they do so well that you don't really see in a lot of TV shows these days. First off, the Murdock Daredevil struggle that he has between the two characters, or the two sides of him, I guess you could say, is clear, and they put it in the forefront, and it was fabulous. John Berthal's ability to capture, the pain and intensity of Punisher and Frank Castle is remarkable, and the badass aspect of him. He's just insanely badass. Like, you want to hate him, but you just love him so much.
Oh man,
you love
he's
him so
great.
much because of what he is. And then Elektra, she's kind of the wild card. She's very determined to do what she wants. She has this pure love for Murdoch and Daredevil through this 10-year gap. But at the same time, she's addicted to this killing, that she does and this kind of life that she lives, and she can't let it go. And the dynamic between her and Daredevil is just fascinating. It's so good, and it counters the Daredevil Punisher dynamic so well. It's such a great mix. And then as for the Punisher Daredevil, I love that they took the ideological view relationship point, which was highlighted in season 2 or episode 2 when they're on the rooftop when they're talking back and forth. That dialogue between the two is crazy. And that ultimatum he gave him, it's straight out of the comic book, which people have been waiting for. But there's so many good things. I mean, I think the hand/black sky stuff was so good at the end. It finished it off very strong. I know you're probably going to talk about it, but the Wilson Fisk stuff was great.
Yeah,
I know that's one of your top things.
Yeah.
The two big scenes, obviously the tracking shot with Daredevil in episode 3, the stairwell sequence, just crazy. And then the one we weren't expecting is the Punisher prison sequence.
Oh man!
In episode 8, which was just like I can watch that all day.
I don't know which one's better.
Yeah, I posted it on Facebook.
I don't know which one's better.
I'm in awe of it. It's crazy good. This is hard because it's kind of part of my negative too. But Karen's arc was much better in this season than season 1.
Oh yeah.
She had a very good arc this season. There's downfalls in it, but it was a much better arc. I could not enjoy more Foggy. His character is so good.
They totally improved his character in this season.
The times he told off D.A. Reyes in the police station, and then him and Murdoch kind of going back and forth, and him standing up to Matt and all this kind of stuff. It's great. There's so many good things. I mean, I think my favorite episode is Penny and Dime. That's the
great.
Irish mob.
That's episode 4.
That's episode 4. There's episode 3 and 4 which go back to back, which are just remarkable. But I think episode 4 is my favorite of the bunch. That conversation between him and Daredevil at the very end, where he tells him his backstory.
Yeah.
Which is another thing they did. They did such a great job of introducing these characters, but not using flashbacks for all of them.
Exactly. They explained it.
Yes, like Punisher, it was through his dialogue.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that.
Exactly.
I would rather hear him talk about it than have them show it. But then the flashback with Elektra and Matt worked very well.
The flashbacks between Elektra and Matt were
needed those
so good.
Because you have to see their chemistry together.
Yeah, and that whole boxing ring scene was just amazing. And I read up that was actually their first scene they did together. And,
that's crazy.
And it kind of like their chemistry is just off the charts good. There's so many good things to take from this season, and the setup and the balance, like I talked about, the balance between everything worked so well. It was so fluid. It built off season 1 in a very fluid way, and which makes it so strong. So
yeah. So for me, I got it. The greatest thing about this show, obviously the character dynamics and all the philosophical stuff, but the action is amazing. I was telling my brother that stairwell scene is probably the greatest superhero action scene I've ever seen in my life. The day after I watched it, I was driving to work, and this is gonna sound weird, but I started a little bit tearing up thinking about that scene. And not because it made me sad, but because how great it is, and how I was just basking in it and just thinking about it and realizing that is so amazing that they did that. We are so lucky as comic book superhero fans to be able to see something like that, and we wouldn't see that in a PG-13 movie. Even though that scene's not as violent as the Punisher prison hallway scene, it's still pretty dark and violent. So that scene is amazing to me. It stands out.
The great thing about that scene is, we love all the big budget PG-13 action movies, superhero movies, that kind of action. But the great thing about it is it's
all practical.
It's hand versus
There's
hand
no
combat.
CGI.
It's man versus man, and it's just all choreographed.
Exactly.
Which makes it so real.
Obviously, I know Gio's going to talk about this, but the tracking shot and how it goes downwards is so amazing.
It's 5 minutes.
And
you don't see something like that.
are you effing kidding me? This guy has a gun taped to his hand and a chain taped to his other hand, and he's using both of them to fight. He's wrapping the chain around people's necks. It is so incredible. But also that Punisher hallway scene is amazing. Moving on to some of the performances, Charlie Cox is Daredevil. He is Matt Murdock. And I like what you said about the difference between the two characters because, like, near the end of the season, I was like, it almost is like it's a completely different person when he's in the suit and when he's Matt Murdock. It seems like it's not him sometimes, which is very interesting. And then obviously John Bernthal as a Punisher is incredible. My favorite scene, I love the rooftop scene. I love the graveyard scene. My favorite John Bernthal scene might be in the courtroom.
When
he's like, I'm not crazy.
Yes.
He's like, I know what I did. I'd do it all again. He's like, I am the Punisher. Like, that is incredible to me. And his a lot of people are saying, should he get nominated for an Emmy? Yes.
Well, there's that scene in him when he goes off on Reyes in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
The no plea or no guilty plea.
Yeah. And I actually, even though I was not that happy with Karen this season, I love the diner scene between her and the Punisher.
That's great.
Like one of my favorite moments in the whole entire show is when he's talking about how he lost his wife and he's like, she used to emotionally like damage me, but I can never feel that again. He's like, you love somebody, even though it's hard, hold on to that and don't lose it. And that scene was crazy good. And Elodie Young, holy crap,
she's unbelievable.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Performance-wise, and she's so sexy, and the way she carries herself, her and Matt's relationship is incredible. Like, I really do not like love stuff, especially in superhero stuff. I totally bought this, and I believed it, and it was so amazing. And another great moment is the season finale when he's telling her, I choose you.
Yes.
Like, and by the way, guys, I apologize we didn't mention this early. This is a spoilers-heavy review. We're going to, after we just name our positive, we're going to get into some spoilers, and we're going to mention spoilers while we're talking. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, then shut this off and listen to it later. But
Too late.
I know, right? But we'll put Daredevil spoilers review on the title. But that scene, man, when he's telling her that he's going to run away with her.
You get emotional.
And part of me is like, is he lying to her, or does he really?
He really loves her.
And like, because we know how much he cares about saving this city. Like he cares about that more than anything. He was willing to leave that for her. That's amazing. I can go on and on and on and on and on. But Gio, let's go to you. Sorry, we probably stole all your positives, but what did you specifically love about this season?
I'm not going to repeat what you guys said because, I mean, nothing more can be said. I like how they put Matt Murdock's character in different kind of conflicts. I think it was in episode 2. He's now struggling with his powers. He's sitting in the corner of his
brain damage.
He's like he doesn't know what's going on. It's like he was the first time when he
after he got shot.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. You guys mentioned Karen Page and how they gave her more to do this season. I appreciated it. I think they gave her a little bit too much, but we'll get into that later. And the Punisher. I mean, the only thing I'll say is that, I mean, it's a perfect casting, and that rooftop scene between him and Daredevil, just going back and forth, talking about their ideas of justice and how they handle things. There's that line of dialogue that Frank Castle says. He says, "You hit him and they get back up. I hit him and they stay down.
I put him in the morgue."
Yeah, exactly. And then just that little scene he has with the former Marine, and he's like, like, I want to kill you, and he's like, simplify, at the end, this guy, I know in the comics, was he a Marine or was he a...
He has a military background,
It's military background.
I thought he was with the police, and maybe I'm just,
Well, there's different incarnations, but it's all military
even when he was a police, I think when he was a cop, before that, he was in the military. Because usually a lot of people in the military become cops. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a military background, as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah, but still, it was a great story. They didn't explain it right there. It happened over a couple episodes, and I mean, even if you're not too familiar with the Punisher, which, let's face it, I mean, the audience that the first season had captured was a lot of Netflix viewers who don't normally watch, superheroes, but, they got sucked into Daredevil season 1. And by season 2, they're kind of learning about this Punisher character as they go on, as Karen Page and Foggy and Matt, they're all learning about the Punisher. So are, the viewers. And I mean, of course, the tracking shot, it's amazing, right? I mean, some of the best work we've ever seen from a tracking shot before, and from an action scene alone. I don't really have that much to add. I mean, it's a really great season.
There's so much more positives that we didn't mention.
Yeah, something I wanted to mention, but we're talking about Punisher, Elektra, and Daredevil, and it's hard to balance 3 characters like that, especially in a TV show when you go back and forth. But I loved how the first 4 episodes were dedicated to the Punisher. The next couple were dedicated to the Elektra character, and then they weaved them together.
Exactly.
Near the end. And it kind of separated it, and then it kind of fluidly came back together into one. And it was when Elektra tampered with the court case.
Oh yeah,
that's where it kind of all started, and it just opened up an entire new view of this season and how they're handling everything. And I thought it was done so well.
To that, they could have just focused on one of those storylines for the whole season. Like, you could have made this all about the Punisher and not had Elektra at all. Or you could have made it all about Elektra and just not had the Punisher at all. But they did both so well. One more thing I have to mention on the positive side is Wilson Fisk. I didn't know he was going to make an appearance in this season. I completely thought he was not going to show up at all. And I was fine with that because we got so much of him in season 1 that, like, I know he would be back eventually. But as soon as you see those weights.
It's him.
You know it's him. And I just did not imagine seeing an interaction between the Punisher and Wilson Fisk. And it was so damn good. And at first, I'm like, damn, they're going to maybe work together. But then as soon as after the Punisher kills that guy, they lock him in the prison and let all those inmates into the hallway. And I'm like, holy shit, Wilson Fisk just made an enemy that he does not want. And Punisher even says the next time we see each other, only one of us is walking away. So I'm looking forward to them having some conflicts in the future. But just it reminds us again how Vincent D'Onofrio, one of the best villain incarnations I've ever seen, movies or TV, honestly. And I love that scene when Matt goes to see him in the prison.
I just watched that this morning again.
And he grabs him and he's like, and the thing is, I know Matt headbutts him, but Matt could have maybe got out of it or
but he
fought him if he wanted to, but then, they don't know he's Daredevil, so he can't do that, So I just love that scene. All right. Well, nothing's perfect, so let's move on to maybe some of the negatives we have. Gio, let's start with you. I know you like to talk about negative stuff, so what didn't work for season 2 of Daredevil?
I thought the second to last episode could have been edited a little bit better. And I'm talking about the episode where Karen Page gets into a car crash with Clancy Brown's character.
Oh, the blacksmith.
The blacksmith.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you spend so much time on Daredevil and Elektra and her, her inner conflict against, do I join the hand? Are they telling the truth? Or should I stay with Matt and help the stick? And it's going, and then it cuts to Karen Page and her car accident, which happened 10, 15 minutes ago, and I'm just like, wait, what? No.
It kind of let you down.
Yeah, a little bit. Again, nitpick, but something small. I kind of wanted a little more of Nelson and Murdoch in the court handling some of the cases
together.
Yeah, I mean, you could have opened the season with the two of them in court, handling some minor case or something. It would have, satisfied that.
That's what they've been up to since last season.
Yeah. And I feel like they didn't really give enough of it. I mean, by the end, you're just like, this is the end of Nelson and Murdoch. And you're sad to see it go, but at the same time, it's like, how much of that did we really see, A lot of it is just the two of them butting heads, I want to see them work together, which we saw.
No, I agree. I didn't think about that, but I agree.
Karen Page, I mean, did it take you guys out for a second how she's kind of in every single thing that goes down? I mean, whether it's the Punisher, at her house, or the car crash that happens.
Not really, because it all made sense, though.
I know, but still, it's
because even when in the season finale, when she gets kidnapped, they kidnapped everyone that he ever saved, so that made sense. Yeah. And then she was putting herself in those situations, she was going out and stupidly getting into those situations.
And
but
the fact that
I agree.
She got away
Yeah,
clean
like
every time. It's like
she's involved in like everything that goes down.
I want to be
like,
around
she's
you.
physically in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
I mean, other than that, there's not much. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm nitpicking, guys.
Ah.
I know. All right, so it's really a great season. I especially love how they tied in Jessica Jones at the end.
Yeah, we'll
It
talk
was,
about
it was
we'll talk
very
about that.
subtle.
Yeah, we'll
it
talk
was
about
very
that.
subtle. Jake, so you probably have no negatives, so I'll
No,
just go. No, I'm
I
just
do
kidding.
have, I do have a few
What?
negatives.
What didn't work for Daredevil
So
season
I had
2?
talked about in my positives, I like Karen's arc during the season, but at the same time, she kind of got annoying for me towards the end. And maybe it was because she was so involved, but I felt like she just kind of kept going after something that wasn't there, and it kind of like annoyed me. And her reaction to everything and her kind of viewpoint and everything. And I get that, now she's the reporter and she's digging and all this kind of stuff, but her character got a little annoying to me, and that may be because we got a little too much of her. I probably would have liked to seen a little bit more Foggy, more than Karen.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Karen has way more screen time than
She was
Foggy.
almost the second lead in a way.
Yeah, no,
more
you're
than
right.
Foggy. And then another one is, kind of going off Gio's point in the lawyer's situation. I didn't mind them not seeing them in the courtroom together, but they forgot how good of a lawyer Matt Murdock is. Like,
You mean,
how
like,
good he is.
The
in
writers,
courtroom.
like,
Yeah,
they
like
didn't
left
put him in
him
there
out.
enough.
Because I remember early in season
there was only one scene really with him.
Well, I remember early in season 1, there was a courtroom case. I think it might have been the first episode where they showcased him as a lawyer, and he was reading heartbeats, and he
Exactly,
destroyed
that's
the
what
courtroom.
makes it so great
They
because
didn't
he
show
can
that
read
once.
people.
They didn't show that once in the season, and that's a huge part of this character. I'm kind of bummed that that's kind of how it went down, but I see where they're going with it now, how they're taking the character. But I would have liked to seen more of him in the courtroom, or just kind of him being a lawyer instead of stepping back and just being Daredevil.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it kind of go hand in hand with Matt Murdock.
Yeah, you're right. He was way more Daredevil this season than he was Matt Murdock.
Which I'm totally fine with, but the character, he's just that good of a lawyer. Like, he is that good. And they hint at it, Reyes, the DA, she says your reputation precedes, like, all this kind of stuff, but they never kind of backed it up. So that's those are my two negatives: the Karen thing and Matt Murdock as a lawyer.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I might have a little bit more negatives than you guys do, but I even texted you about this when it happened. So I hate when writers treat women like insecure, jealous people, and so there's a scene in Daredevil. I forget. It's a little bit after midway through.
It's episode
when
let me see.
when Karen is going to
Episode 7, I think.
Yeah, when Karen is going to get Matt to bring him back to the courthouse because they need him, and then she walks in when Stick and Elektra are there, and she walks in when Elektra's laying in the bed, and obviously they're not having sex or anything.
She's
Elektra's
sliced up.
hurt, and Karen just walks in like, "Oh my god," and leaves. Like, they're degrading women by doing that. Honestly, and I know probably in real life men and women get jealous about certain things, but I hate when in TV shows or movies they have one love interest get jealous over something and then their love interest doesn't get to explain it. Like, he never got to explain anything about it. Like, even though he wasn't going to tell her what was really going on, he could have explained, "Oh, she's my old friend. She got stabbed in the stomach and I was taking care of her." You didn't have to tell her everything. So I absolutely hated that. It ruined the Karen character for me. I do not take her. I don't know. I'm very upset with that.
I mean, when you have a guy like Matt Murdock who doesn't tell her shit, like nothing, it's like she's kind of like wondering every day, like, wait, you're leaving? Where are you going,
Yeah.
Oh, you have to do this?
Well, I get why she's upset with him overall because he's always leaving. He's always lying to her. everything.
You're mad that how it went down.
Exactly. Well, they just treated the Karen character like she's stupid and she's ignorant and she's insecure and jealous. And in every other thing, she's a strong woman. But in that, she was weak. And I was more upset that they just worked around Matt not being able to give her an explanation for it. Like, it really bothered me. And then I actually was not a huge fan of all the hand stuff. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Look, I love ninjas. I
Wow.
love the ninjas and the action. And I didn't like the bigger picture thing. Like, maybe you know more about this, but what the hell is the Black Sky? How is Elektra the Black Sky, and what is the Black Sky, and what can it do?
Well, I don't know a ton about it, but the Black Sky is the immortal. The one that the dude that couldn't die, he was the Black Sky until.
Well, they said Elektra's the Black Sky.
Yeah, no, it's basically it's like a bloodline almost. There's multiple Black Sky, and when one dies, another one takes the place, and then they'll bring another one, and now Elektra is going to become the Black Sky. She's the Black Sky now, and she's going to become the leader of the Hand, which she is in the comics at some points.
Okay, I mean that kind of makes me feel better about it, but I was paying attention to every little detail when I'm watching this, and I was still very confused in that. They could have explained it a lot better.
No, they definitely could have, because the guy that was in season 1 that we thought died, who came back, he was the Black Sky. He became the Black Sky.
Oh, okay.
And because he became immortal.
Yeah.
And then he died, and now they were always going after Elektra because she was like him. She was part of that, I don't want to say organization, but like.
But they didn't do the best job at explaining all of it. And not that they have to explain everything, but for me, who's very invested in this series and I'm paying attention to everything, I was confused. Imagine like a casual fan watching it. They would have no idea what's going on. So I was not a huge fan of all of that going on. And I thought that the season finale and the end was very anticlimactic for me. I enjoyed the first half of the season way more than the second half of the season. And I was a little bit disappointed with the season finale because I was expecting something way bigger to happen. And
like what?
I don't know.
Like explosions?
No, not explosions, but I was just, by the time it ended, I was like, that's it? Okay. Really? And now that you explained the Black Sky thing to me, how she's the immortal or whatever, it makes sense, but I didn't like that they killed her. And obviously she's coming back, and I was very upset when they killed her. And then Stick knows all of this stuff, and he knows that about the Black Sky and all this stuff, and that they're going to bring her back. And if he's so worried about the Black Sky and her becoming it, then why did they just bury her body in the ground? And obviously the Hand's going to come back and get it. Maybe he knew that, and he wants them to bring her back to life. So I don't know. Those were just some of my negatives. It didn't, again, this does not change how great this season is. Those were just some problems I had with it, and I think they can definitely, maybe by season 3, when I see all these things come to fruition, it'll make a lot more sense. But for now, those are the things that I had problems with. So let's go ahead and talk about what our expectations are for season 3. Like, what do we want to see? What do we think is going to happen? Let's start with you, Jake.
I want to see, I think, depending on where Luke Cage goes and Iron Fist goes, I think season 3 is going to be more of a pre-Defenders.
Do you think we're going to see season 3 before we see the Defenders series?
That's kind of what I'm thinking, because I have a feeling that in a way that Iron Man was kind of almost the setup to the Avengers, Daredevil is the setup to the Defenders, and I think that the Hand is going to be the big bad that the Defenders have to go after. I think that's who it's going to be.
With Elektra leading it?
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be.
That's crazy.
And so maybe season 3 comes after the Defenders, but if it comes before, then it's obviously going to be Elektra and the Hand going up against Daredevil, but I want to see Daredevil and Punisher team up for the entire freaking season.
I know.
That's what I want to see. I don't know if it'll happen. I doubt it'll happen, but I don't see how the Punisher can kind of get his own show. I don't see where that goes. I'd rather see him work with Daredevil because I think the relationship is so intriguing. By the way, I love that he calls him Red.
Oh, I love that too.
I just love that he calls him Red.
I love that too.
But there are so many options, but I think we're going to see a little bit more of an pre-Defenders setup if season 3 does come before the Defenders.
I could see that. It would make sense because Daredevil's so hot right now.
I think Daredevil is the core of this whole Netflix thing.
Oh, definitely.
And they're going to build off of what...
It's just like what you said, especially for phase 1 of the Marvel movies.
Daredevil
is the Iron Man of this universe. He's the main protagonist. So, Gio, do you have any expectations for season 3? What do you want to see? What do you think is going to happen?
Give me Bullseye, Jason Statham, and...
Hell yeah.
I think it's what we'll see too.
And give me more Punisher. You guys just reminded me of the scene where he gets tortured when the drills.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he shotguns the dude's
Oh,
face.
that was so great. They
That
show
whole
it
scene,
too.
That whole scene. Well, let's talk about that real quick because Netflix or Marvel in a way, all this talk about rated R, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But Marvel just went super hard, like R.
Yeah.
I know it's Netflix, but they went crazy hard R.
Oh,
Like, this was
definitely.
worse than Deadpool. Like with the blood,
violence?
the amount of blood and violence.
And
Maybe.
beams.
Like and you're talking about the drill in the foot and like shotguns to the face and like
And
cutting off hands,
slitting throats.
yeah, like in your face. Violence
When Elektra
and-
slit that kid's throat,
Yeah.
I got up out of my seat and was like, "What the?"
Yeah.
Like I was tripping
like
when
it was
she slit
that's
that
what- I think
throat.
that's what made it so
Put down
great.
my spaghetti.
You were eating during that scene.
Dude, I'm just like eating up. I'm eating mine. Just like let's keep going, man.
Man, yeah. For me, I want to see Foggy be a badass lawyer.
I think that's what we'll see.
I think he's gonna become the DA of Hell's Kitchen or of New York.
New York, interesting.
In the comics, he does. I was reading up about Karen Page.
yeah.
And all right, so there's something that happens in the comics that could maybe be a potential spoiler for the future of Daredevil. So if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead or turn it off. But I mean, this might not even happen, so it doesn't count as a spoiler. But I was reading up on the comics, and in the comics, yeah, Foggy becomes the DA, but also Bullseye kills Karen Page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't remember exactly what was going on, but Daredevil and Bullseye are fighting, and she's there, and Bullseye throws his billy club. We should talk about the billy club too, but and Karen Page jumps in front of it, and it kills her.
It's kind of almost in a way of a Green Goblin, Gwen Stacy situation.
Yeah.
Like in Spider-Man.
I-
Kind
and
of how she's in
I-
a way.
They did that in the Daredevil movie.
I think they'll probably. Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daredevil killed Elektra, or Bullseye killed Elektra in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But then
I don't remember that. That's weird.
Yeah, well, you don't need to remember.
But I think no, I actually like that movie.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
Interesting.
I like it. I think they're going to introduce Bullseye in season 3, but I don't think that's going to happen in season 3. I think that'll happen later on down the line.
They're going to delve into her being a reporter.
And Karen Page is actually one of Daredevil's like main love interests. I didn't know that. I mean, I thought they were just not forcing it, but
I
doing
think
it.
she is the main.
Well, it's her and Elektra.
Yeah.
But I thought they were just putting it in there for the show, but it's actually something in the comics. So I think we'll definitely. I hope we see Bullseye. I mean, that's kind of awesome that we've gotten 2 great seasons from Daredevil, and we still haven't seen Bullseye, who's arguably his main antagonist. So, and I want to see them do more with Foggy, maybe a little bit less of Karen Page, and I would love to. I want to see Daredevil and Punisher go into battle together, but it's going to be tough because Punisher's not going to stop killing. But at the same time, Daredevil was fighting next to Elektra while she was killing, and when Punisher shows up at the season finale, he obviously kills those guys, and he says, "I'll see you around, Red." And Daredevil goes,
I love it. I see you around, Red. Like that line. It's just so good.
But I have a question for you guys. So, did it seem like Punisher just came out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Like, how did he know that was going on? Did he plan on going and helping him? Like, how did he know any of that?
Oh, in the season finale?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He kind of just showed up out of nowhere.
But
No. If you remember, before he starts spray painting his thing, he turns on the police scanners, and the police are all there.
Oh,
Like,
never mind.
what's going on
You
here?
just changed my whole entire mind. That scene is.
But one thing, the scene before when he's walking towards wherever he's going, he's got a giant ass machine gun. But then he walks up, he's got a giant sniper rifle.
Oh yeah.
Like where the hell is he getting all this weaponry, dude?
Oh, the shed.
But the shed was somewhere completely way different.
Oh,
He was at his
before
house.
that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think he was at the
Do you
shed
think he
before
just
that.
raided the shed and brought everything with him?
Well, he had a couple things with him.
Okay.
He probably had a vehicle.
I don't care. That was one hell of a shot.
Oh,
though.
Gio,
Like,
you just because that was one of my criticisms. You just changed my. He did turn on the police scanner.
Yeah.
That is freaking awesome.
It's not all negatives.
I love this season. Well, we went on and on and on and on. So let's round this out. Let's give it a score out of 10. I mean, go ahead, Gio.
I'm gonna go 9. I'm gonna go 9. A lot of the problems I had didn't really bother me that much. It's just a little nitpicking. So I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
Yeah, Jake.
10. Easy.
I knew it.
Easy.
I knew it.
All the negatives I had, just like they're nitpicking, but not only that they're nitpicking, that I see where they're going with the characters, so they don't take me out of what I'm watching.
Yeah. I mean, shoot. Before this, I was probably going for 8.5, but you guys, changed my mind on a few things, so I'm gonna go 9.2. 9 is a great score. You can't please don't be like, how do you not give it a 10? A 9 is an amazing score. So obviously, we all loved it. It is arguably, look, I need time to think about it. I need time to watch it again, but it is arguably the best comic book TV series of all time. And for me, I still have Arrow Season 2 and Flash Season 1 up there, but they're all tied right now. But maybe after watching Daredevil again and thinking about it, I'll put it above those. But yeah. But all right, that's going to close it out for Apocalypse Movies review of Daredevil Season 2. I want to thank Jake Berlin for joining me today. Where can they find you online?
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake, apocalypsemovies.com every day, and check out the Padawan podcast.
Oh, yeah. And I also want to thank Giorgio Ramos for joining us today. Where can they find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at GeoRamos24 and check out Rumor Central on apocalypsemovies.com.
And you can find me, Jacob Bartley, on Twitter at @JacobBartley_. And while we're plugging things, listen to the Apocalypse Movie News podcast every Friday, Saturday-ish, every week. So,
and our new Batman v Superman review tomorrow.
Yes. By the way, we're seeing Batman v Superman tonight. So, yeah, check out our review tomorrow. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, take care.